Yeah, it's me again. I was just talking to Mary, and we were talking about what transpired. She's seen a video of mine. Remember I told you that I sent her like 30 of them? Well, this story here is again about family. It's told you I had a mother-in-law from hell. Well, I remember dating Pam. That was my first wife. And we were going to a VICA ball. VICA was your vocational technical thing. I had to wear a tuxedo with a cutter bun and, just ridiculous stuff. Well, I was out in the kitchen talking to Pam's grandma. Now, Pam's grandma and I got along like apple pie with vanilla ice cream on it. Pie a la mud. And Pam was finishing up getting dressed, getting her frillies on. And then I overheard Lorraine. And she said something like this: "I do not want you to do what Karen did." I looked at Grandma. Grandma looked at me. And I said, "Did I just hear what I heard?" And Grandma told me to let it go. No, I'm not going to let it go. I went in, put my face just right in front of Lorraine's, and I said, "Pam is not a whore like Karen is." And I turned around and went back out into the kitchen. Grandma looked at me and she goes, "Good for you. Thank you." I think that started hatred. I think I stirred the pot for hatred. Pam and I talked about my statement. What happened was, about a year before that, Karen had an illegitimate child. Her name was Becky. Now, Karen got married, but she did not marry Becky's biological father. But Becky was raised thinking the man that she called Dad was her biological dad. Now, one thing I do have to admit is that Becky's dad and Howard did look similar alike. But no. Well, years later, like 12 years later, I'm talking the end of 70s now, we were on our way up to New York, and Becky turned 13. It was going to be her 13th birthday. I made a statement to Pam that I think it's about time that Becky found out the truth concerning her dad. Well, in the car, Pam agreed with me. But she also said that she's going to discuss that with her mom. And I said, well, Lorraine ain't got nothing to do with that. I mean, that's Karen and your job, because it's our children, not Lorraine's. We got to the house. I dropped Pam and the kids off at Lorraine's. And I think I took my daughter with me over to see my parents, because that's the way it was. Lorraine came first. Period. Lorraine always came first. After visiting my parents for about an hour, I went back over there to Lorraine's, and Lorraine read me the riot act. I mean, it was just, I finally just looked at her, told her to go pound salt, asked which one of you kids are going to go over to my parents where it's peace and calm instead of this bullshit. Well, they decided to stay with Lorraine because Mommy was staying with Lorraine, so I went to my parents' place. Spent the whole vacation there. Well, years later, about 7-8 years later, Pam ended up going in the hospital because her father died of, I can't think of it. It deals with your poop chute thing. And it was determined in 1945 that descendants, colonoscopy, that's what it was, that descendants should be checked every year. Well, Lorraine just told the kids that their father died. They were never checked. Pam is the third child. Karen is the second, and Howard is the oldest. Well, this one summer, Howard felt sick. He went in. He ends up wearing a bag. And that's when it was discovered that the kids were all supposed to be checked every year. Well, Pam went in for her check. Come to find out, she was scheduled for an operation that took her whole small intestines out and attached the big intestine to her butthole. And I'm losing it. I was pissed because this ain't right. You don't raise your children by lies. And that's what Lorraine did. She raised her children by lies. Well, Pam was scheduled for this operation, and she told me that Lorraine and Becky was coming down. You know, they were driving down. Well, they arrived. Pam went in the hospital Friday. The operation is Monday. And anyways, they came down and took Pam, put her in the hospital. I said nothing to Lorraine. Nothing. I haven't said nothing to that woman in years. Because as far as I'm concerned, she's garbage, trash, whatever. But Becky and I talked. And Becky didn't say too much. You know, but we talked over coffee and that kind of stuff. Well, Becky had to go to work on Tuesday. She got Monday off, but she had to fly back on Monday. So after the operation, we found out that Pam was all right. It was like 10 o'clock in the morning. And Becky asked me if I'd take her to the airport. I said, sure. No problem, Becky. So we swung by the house out in Laurel Bay and proceeded down to Savannah Airport. On the way going down to Savannah Airport, Becky popped up and gave me the story as to what happened. She just turned 18. And we're talking just a couple months before this operation thing. A couple days before her 18th birthday, she gets a phone call. And it's this guy, and I don't know the whole conversation, but Becky said, I realized that was my father. And Howie is my stepfather. And I've been naked in front of him for years. I'd run around the house naked. And I just looked at her and I went, well, Becky, I've known your whole life. And Becky popped up and went, yeah, I'm mad at Mom. In fact, I'll probably never talk to my mother again. And I said, why is that? And she goes, Mom told me that you were going to tell me when I was 13 years old on my 13th birthday the truth about my dad. I wish you would have, Gene. And I went, Becky, I couldn't. Because of Lorraine, because of your mother Karen, because of your brothers, or her brothers, and the ex. Well, I think I said warden, and the warden. And Becky started laughing. How long have you been calling her the warden? Years. Because she's a spitting image of your grandmother. Jeez, I hate that woman. Her way or no way. That's it. It's my way or no way. Becky popped up and she goes, well, Uncle Gene, I still wish you would have told me the truth at 13. You know, but I can understand why you didn't. But I love you. Wow. Okay, Becky. That's not a problem. So we get down there to the Savannah Airport, and she gave me a hug and a kiss and told me that I'm going to raise my family different than what Lorraine did. My children are going to know the truth about everything. And I looked at her and I said, well, that's how I raised Chris and Corey. They know the truth. And if you don't believe me, you can talk to my mom, because we've argued about it for years. And Becky goes, yeah, I've heard some of those stories, especially with Jessica. Oh, a junkie? Yeah. Yep, they're all true. They're all true. So anyway, you have a good flight. And I love you too. Gave each other another hug and a kiss. She got on the airplane and went. I got back home. Lorraine was sitting in the living room. I just went in and turned the TV. And Lorraine just looked at me. And I looked at her and I went, I don't watch that trash in this house. Don't like it? Head back to New York. And as far as I'm concerned, sooner the better. She stood up and went into her bedroom. Didn't say a word to me. Sometimes I wish I would have slapped that woman. It would have made me feel a whole lot better. But what was ironic was when Pam and the kids went home, they stayed with Lorraine. And Lorraine died. And then my ex latches onto my mother, and they became inseparable. Mom used to call me concerning what her and Pam were doing every day. Oh, jeez, that made me so sick. Anyway, I just thought I'd throw this out. Mary reminded me of it. So that's the truth behind that story. Anyway, have a beautiful Monday. Bye.